Hi, guys. Thanks so much for coming to my talk today. My name is Adam Carpenter, and I am a biological researcher. I've worked on mission to Mars projects, but my main focus is potatoes. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about potatoes and how they will be the savior of Mars and all the colonists who will ever live on Mars. So let's jump in. So, first of all, what is it that we find lurking underneath of our sink or deep in a dark root cellar? No matter what, potatoes are always with us, and they have been since the beginning of time. In fact, potatoes started out in the Incan Empire. Ancient Incans used to grow potatoes to keep themselves healthy and provide nutrients. Potatoes were actually brought over to the Old World by Christopher Columbus, where Europeans thought that it was one of the greatest food sources. In fact, the Irish loved potatoes so much that the Irish actually made it one of their staple crops. Now, unfortunately, because it was such an important crop in the 1800s, there was a huge disease that killed off all the potatoes. And as you may know, the Irish were killed. They were starved off because of the famine. We've come a long way from those days. Nowadays, we like to enjoy our potatoes in a lovely cholesterol, artery clogging form, maybe as some French fries. In fact, did you know that the average American eats over 30 pounds of potatoes, of French fries per year? So, I'm here today to ask the big question. How can we go from this to this? In other words, how can we go from growing a resource to making it something that we can eat, to making it something that will provide nutrients for us to survive? And moreover, how do we do it on Mars, a planet that we are not meant to inhabit, a planet that has way less oxygen than Earth, a planet that has soil types that are completely different than Earth's, a planet that has nutrients that may not even be able to host Earth life? Well, the answer to that question is with iron. Well, maybe not that kind of iron, maybe this kind of iron. Specifically, rust. Now, we know that rust comes when iron comes into contact with oxygen, right? That oxygen bonds with the iron and it turns into rust, a reddish colored substance that covers metal like kitchen knives or cars that have been submerged underwater. Well, it turns out Mars has an awful lot of rust. Rust is covering Mars. In fact, that's what gives it its red color, the red planet. So, for this study, we wanted to know as researchers, could rust be used to grow potatoes? In other words, could we use the things that we find on Mars, the nutrients in Martian soil, like rust, to grow potatoes? So, we set up an experiment. The conditions of our experiment were we decided to use 5 grams of phosphorus for one group of our potatoes. We chose phosphorus because phosphorus is another very common nutrient in Martian soil. Iron is another very important but very common nutrient that is found in Martian soil. And our control group, which we were comparing both conditions to, had neither phosphorus nor iron added to the soil. So what did we find out when we conducted our experiment, when we tried to grow our potatoes? Well, our results show that by and large, way more than the phosphorus condition or the control, the potatoes that were grown in the iron grew significantly greater than the other potatoes. Now, this is a big deal because this tells us that the potatoes that we plant on the Martian soil will have a really good chance of growing and providing us with food. Now, although we are astronauts and although we are new to this alien world, we think about all that rust that's in the Martian soil, and we know with confidence that we'll be able to turn it into our next lunch. Thanks for watching.